Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, we're going to be going over a 2021 Mercedes C300. But first and foremost, a huge shout out and thank you to the Larry Miller Dodge Ram here in Sandy for giving me some time with this C300. Please check out their inventory in the link below. Let's get straight into the video. Under the hood, we have a turbocharged 2-liter 4-cylinder that goes through a 9-speed automatic transmission. Power outputs are 255 horsepower and then 273 pound-feet of torque. Now let's go to the front end of this C300. So first off, I love the paint color on this particular one. It just looks absolutely fantastic. Especially you can see the parts right here where the sunlight is hitting it. It has this beautiful metallic sparkle. And then coming down below, we've got these full LED lights with the LED accent light there at the top. And then I love all the accenting over the grille. Notice that the Mercedes logo does double as a sensor. You have another logo there at the very top. But overall, I feel like it's a very good looking car from the front end perspective. Coming around the side here, we've got two 25mm tires wrapped around 19-inch wheels in the front, and then two 55mm tires, again, wrapped around 19-inch wheels in the back. As for the design on the wheels, I feel like it just has this nice, elegant look to it with the silver on the top, and then everything else is blacked out with the rest of the wheel. Kind of makes it look like the spokes are kind of floating in a way, but obviously they're all connected to the ring right there, which I don't know, I just think it looks good from a design standpoint. And then notice the mirrors blacked out. Yes, this is a 2-door, and yeah, just look at that side view. Again, it looks really good. Now let's pop into the trunk area here for the C300. So first off, notice we got all these AMG floor mats, which I think is pretty awesome. And then you can see space in there is pretty good. And then underneath this little portion right here, just lift up this tab. We've got some extra storage space overall. That's all good. And then yes, it is automatic. So you've got the lock and then you can press that and, well, close it back up. Now let's finish things up here in the rear. So first off, notice that we've got these taillights here in the back, which I think overall look good stylistically with the rest of the car. And then a body painted spoiler. You've got all of your regular badges here, diffuser at the bottom. Then we've got the exhaust tip coverings, which I think overall, again, stylistically, it all matches and looks pretty good. As you can see, we are here in the back of the C300. I love this for the vent to open or close them. I think that control just feels really nice. And notice we even have speakers here for the sound system and the world's tiniest armrests ever. But yeah, here are the rear seats in the back. Definitely nice with the overall design. Even get some cup holders. If you guys are wondering, I don't think I'd really fully fit here behind the seat. You guys can see the legroom. I mean, it's okay. And then in terms of headroom, yeah, I'm touching the top, so probably reserve this for kids, but again, at least the speakers look nice. Now let's go over the door panel here in the front. Notice that we've got frameless windows, and then we actually get the leather padding here on the side. You've got your seat controls in normal Mercedes fashion, heated seats, and then more speakers there for the sound system. We've got our window controls right there. That is for the trunk. And then here's the seat at the front. Again, full leather. Notice you've got all the stitching, and then you have the stitching that goes across with the seat itself. Lumbar is actually there on the side of the seat. Then there is the pedal layout. We've got the light controls, and then you can see paddles there on the back. And there's one more look before we pop in. Now here's the steering wheel in the C300. You've got smooth leather over the entire steering wheel. Again, you've got the paddles there on the back. And then notice you've got all of your controls for like the voice command, volume controls, all that kind of stuff on that side. And then your cruise control there on the other side. Got the stock for the windshield wipers and turn signal. And then you've got the gear selector right there. It is a column mounted shifter, and that's all for the steering wheel. Now here's a center gauge cluster with the C300. First off, we've got a couple of different menus that we can scroll through here on the gear selector. I love the feedback feeling you get. Again, this is one of those controls on the side of the steering wheel. Really easy to use. And then notice we can go to designs, and we can actually change how the gauge cluster looks in terms of the design itself. I'm trying to decide. The Sport looks pretty cool. The Classic looks clean. I might like the Progressive though. I think that looks really good aesthetically. Now the next thing is going to be the drive mode select. So we've got a bunch of different drive modes. You've got Eco, Comfort, Sport, Sport Plus, and then Individual, depending on what your driving style is and what you want to do with the car at that particular point. Now here's the center infotainment system. First off, if we pop it into reverse, notice we've got a backup camera with trajectory lines that turn with the steering wheel. And then if we go from reverse to drive, it'll actually keep the backup camera on for a moment. Now, as for the rest of the infotainment system, and sorry, it's kind of bad lighting right now, you guys will notice that if I press anything here on the screen, nothing happens. And that's because it's not actually touchscreen, it's controlled via a dial system. Again, you can see lightly tapping here and nothing's happening. So again, you control everything via a little dial pad, and I'll show that to you guys in a little bit. But there's a bunch of different stuff that you can customize. We'll see consumption. This car doesn't have a ton of miles on it, but you guys can at least, wow. 4.4 miles per gallon is what we've been averaging, but we've been sitting in a parking lot, so that doesn't really count. Again, I just tried to do that because I thought it was a touchscreen. It looks like a touchscreen, but it's not. Aside from my stupidity, there's the infotainment system. Down below, we've got a bunch of vents here. I love the actuation with the opening and closing of the vent itself. We've got some climate controls down below that, and then notice we've got a little clock here. I love the wood paneling on that portion. And then we've got a couple cup holders here. We've got a little USB right next to it. And then this is for the infotainment system mainly, and then the drive mode select as well, including the auto stop start. And then we've got the seat belt thing. And if you guys are wondering what that does, well, it basically extends the seat belt so that you can belt yourself in. And yeah, that is literally all that button is for, is to extend the seat belt for you. Center console here, again lined with felt. There's actually a couple of USBs inside of it, leather on the top, and then coming over the glove box, it actually also has leather around it. You guys can see storage space pretty good. We actually get a window sticker. Rarely get a window sticker with used cars. That'll be good for later in today's review. I like the metallic trim there at the top though, but that's all for that area. Finishing things up top, we've got the sunglass holder up here. We have a traditional mirror, and then you actually do get a sunroof. It's all automated, and yeah, that's everything for the top. So here's our window for this C300. You guys can see the fuel economy numbers over here. Feel free to freeze the frame on any portion of this if you guys want to see all of the equipment. Sorry about the glare. Then you guys can see the optional equipment on this particular one, and then the total MSRP originally $54,170. Let's take her out and see how she drives. Well, let's talk about visibility before we set off here in the C300. So you guys can see visibility of the hood, and then through both the mirrors, they do have blind spot monitoring. And then all throughout the rest of the rear. That all being said, let's set off. We are setting off here in the C300. Pretty interesting car. I actually really like the feel of it though so far. Again, I don't think I've ever reviewed a two-door Mercedes on the channel, but they definitely have a distinctive feel. It definitely has like a nice luxury car feel right off the bat. In terms of the touch points, like the steering wheel feels very nice. Ride quality is really smooth, and it's relatively quiet. You do get a little bit more tire noise, but that's most of these luxury cars like this, because they kind of go from more of the performance side with the tire and every setup and everything, and so it's just a little bit louder. But they do a good enough job in the suspension that it rides really smooth. Right now I'm in the sport mode. I actually want to see how quick these gear shifts are in the manual mode. Pretty good. Sorry if you guys hear me sniffling. I am getting the worst allergies every single time this time of the year. I get just horrible allergies, and yeah, just not exactly a fun experience for me. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop back in the automatic mode. So just hold down the plus paddle and it'll do that for you. Yeah, definitely like the overall responsiveness with the car. We'll pop it into the Sport Plus mode and see how that kind of feels. Yeah, definitely. One thing I will say is it does have kind of like a nice lightish weight feel. Steering is super light. Wow. Yeah, definitely pretty quick. Definitely quick to get up to speed. Doesn't throw you back in your seat or anything like that, but it's decently quick. The gear shifts are definitely super solid. The steering is like way too light. It's kind of, yeah, the steering is like, it's crazy how light the steering is. I haven't been in a car with steering that's this light before, and it's relatively direct. It's not great, but it's relatively direct overall. And aside from that, again, ride quality is pretty good, again, even in the Sport Plus mode. But let's get into summing things up here with this C300. So first off, exterior wise, I think it's a really good looking vehicle on the outside. I think just stylistically, like, it's not overstated. It's not like it's not really a head turning car, but it's just a beautiful looking car. Interior wise, I feel like it's pretty nice. I think the thing is interesting is that they don't use like the nicest, smoothest leather for the whole interior here. Turning's definitely good. Like you can definitely huck it into a corner, which is interesting. But like it's a relatively nice interior, but like I wish like the leather they use on the steering wheel, they use more of that throughout the interior. I think that would just kind of bring it up a little bit. But yeah, pretty good. Performance is okay. It's not fast or anything like that. I mean, it's got less than 300 horsepower, but it gets up and moves. It feels faster than the power figure suggests, but it's definitely not crazy quick or anything like that. Overall, I feel like it's a good looking luxury car. It's got good features, good safety tech. You are definitely paying for the Mercedes badge with the C300. But overall, I feel like it's a relatively good package. However, I would be tempted to just get an A-Class if I was spending this kind of money. I know completely different cars, but that one just feels a little bit more modern, looks a little bit better if you ask me, and it has the 4 doors as well. So yeah, that's kind of what I think. But yeah, here's the C300. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this walkthrough. Now that's gonna sum things up for our video on this 2021 Mercedes C300. And again, a huge shout out and thank you to the Larry Miller Dodge Ram here in Sandy for giving me some time with this C300. Check out the inventory in the link below. I'll see all of you in the next video.